afternoon, everyone, again. So my name is Goodness, and I'm here in capacity as the dev lead at Sui Hub Lagos. Sui Hub Lagos is Sui's digital footprints in the real world. We have this global network of for orchestration, and now Sui has built a hub here in Lagos for people to come and learn about decentralized technologies and Sui. The nice thing about the entire experience is the fact that Sui is not just a blockchain. It's popular to say that blockchains are databases, but Sui is different. And we're going to look at that today. Okay, so a couple of days ago, Cloudflare went down, and we all saw that. Days before that, AWS went down, and these are serious issues. It's to make you think about two dilemmas. The first one is, should I really trust a provider? And then the second one is, how many providers should I trust? It's a classic case of, I cannot trust one provider, no matter how big they are, because AWS has a significant market share. And if we now think about trusting multiple services, you're going to pay a lot. And that's one thing that blockchains are really, really good for, centralizing trust. So the question is, how do we design systems that are available even when centralized services go down? How do we minimize single points of failure at every layer of the stack? And how do we guarantee consistency, safety, and recoverability at scale? You hear a lot of people talk about how blockchains are not decentralized, particularly because most of them actually run on AWS. But I actually argue that it's actually not true, because if we have, say, some nodes running on AWS and some running on GCP, then we still have decentralization and we still have control across different services. So in that regard, blockchains are still the way to go. We've generally seen that these big corporations that handle data and infrastructure for the world often fail, and we most likely have seen it in the last couple of days with AWS and Cloudflare, where they went down. But then the nice thing about blockchains in general is the fact that you have no single point of failure, since trust and authority is distributed across multiple computers across the entire world. So it's two things. The first thing is that you have distributed infrastructure that actually works for everybody equally. And then the second one is the fact that you actually have a classic case of nothing can actually go down, because if a couple of them go down, or more so Byzantine fault, then the other service can actually work. Today, I'm actually talking about the fastest blockchain in existence, Sui blockchain. Comparing Sui blockchain to other blockchains in terms of speed is no joke. It's actually a joke. And then comparing Sui blockchain to PAMPay transfers or OP to OP transfers is actually faster. And so we're talking about the fastest blockchain that exists, and then the possibilities that you can build on top of it. But it's not just that. The nice thing about Sui is the fact that they've not just shipped a fast blockchain, but every single thing you need to build a new internet. So it's a classic case of this. Other blockchains have built databases, right? Talking about other blockchains, and then all you can think about is writing smart contracts, deploying smart contracts, and then interacting with them from a client. And so all you've really done was use the distributed database. But Mr. Labs, the builders of Sui, did not stop at that. They built way past that to build services like storage, decentralized storage, and decentralized secrets, and basically the entire Web2 stack in Web3. And then at the end of everything, you still have this distribution and the same experience you normally have with building in Web2. And so we're going to be talking about these services that Mr. Labs has built and how you can easily replace your current Web2 stack with the Web3 stack and basically gain trust for your services, zero downtime, and better uptime for your customers. And so the first thing is, what is Sui? Sui is a high-performance layer 1 blockchain that centers around assets and objects. What it basically means is that you have a blockchain that speaks OOP. And OOP is something that us modern developers are definitely familiar with. Sui uses an object-centric model where every asset on the blockchain is called an object. And as you well know, everything in the world is an object. So you're most likely just going to be taking properties that actually exist in the real world and then basically defining things. So say I want to write a smart contract for this shirt I'm wearing. I'm going to be like color, brown, right? And then pretty much specify every single thing that is existing for that object on the blockchain. Right, so the TPS on Sui is 297,000, and the current average time to finality is around 300 milliseconds. If it takes 1 second for me to do my hands like this, then it takes 1/3 of that to make a transaction on Sui, which is really, really fast. I'm talking depositing on an exchange, and then your money gets there before you're able to swipe and change the app. That's about speed I'm talking about. And almost with no need for time for confirmation. You deposit to other blockchains like Bybit and the rest, and then you have to wait for confirmation to receive your money, right? But on Sui, the money actually gets there before you're able to switch the app from your wallet to the centralized exchange, right? Which is actually where you need confirmation. And so, generally, it's a case of across the entire stack we've seen in terms of storage. And so, the first Sui ecosystem project we're going to be talking about today is Walrus. Walrus is a um, decentralized storage system, pretty much very simple. So basically, you have something like S3 buckets. You have something that's like generic storage that you can build on top, and basically build any primitive you want for storage on top of it. The next thing about storage, Walrus, is that it's Byzantine fault tolerance, which basically means that even if 2 thirds of the network go down, you still have storage that's actually very, very reliable. So Walrus doesn't stop at that. Another really nice thing is that if you're going to build a Web3 app today on another blockchain that's not Sui, you most likely are defining your smart contract on in Web3, which is actually what you call decentralized. And then the next thing you do is take your front end to say Vessel or any other centralized service, which is really bad because you actually are still very centralized. But with Walrus, we have decentralized front ends where you are actually able to basically put your front end up on the Walrus network and it actually never goes down. Um, so basically, instead of deploying your front end with Cloudflare, AWS, and Netlify, which all go down, you have Walrus that's always available for you. Next. The next one we have is Seal, verifiable on-chain compute. If you've seen any decentralized social media app, I'm talking all of them, right? All the decentralized social media apps that you know, popular ones, I don't want to mention any names, are all centralized, not only by virtue of front end, but also by virtue of secrets. These blockchains only have databases, and so even their secret methods are all centralized. But in the Sui ecosystem, we have Seal that allows you to basically have secrets, and then these secrets are basically shared between those that are concerned. So it's a classic case of we have end-to-end encryption that's totally decentralized with parties on the Sui network. And also, the nice thing about using Walrus, Seal, and all these other services is the fact that you also still get programmability from your database, right? So basically, if you're talking about blockchains as the internet, the first thing we look at is the decentralized database. And so you're still able to control every single thing from the orchestration layer, which is Sui. Next. The third one is the Sui messaging stack. And this is actually very interesting because speeding up a chat app today is very, very cumbersome, right? It's something that scares a lot of beginner devs. But with the way we have the Sui messaging stack, you no longer need events processors, webhooks, and the rest. You basically just plug and play. And it works on top of Seal and Walrus, right? So it's basically a lot of abstractions that basically help you build things around notifications, chat apps, and the rest. And you no longer have to worry about a lot of things because it's all built for you. Then we have Inoki. So it's like Inoki is a serverless Web3 backend. And what it basically means is that you want to build an e-commerce app, you want to build social authentication and all of that on the blockchain. You usually just do that instead of spinning up your own. And if there's anything you've noticed from every single thing we've talked about recently, it's the fact that Mistin has built these tools up to a stage where all you have to just do is plug and play. Next. This icing on the cake is ZK login, and I could spend 3 days speaking about ZK login and what it affords you. With ZK login, you're able to build social authentication into your app from day one without having to spin it up by yourself. Basically, you bring in any OAuth service and you plug it to ZK login, and then you have continue with Google, continue with Facebook, and the rest. And so you're now able to build Web3 apps that nobody sees a wallet in. They still have a wallet, they still have total control, but they never see a wallet. All they basically probably be seeing is continue with email, continue with Google, and the rest. So that's what ZK login allows you. Then we have Nautilus. Since blockchains are databases, if you're going to run anything that's quite intensive like AI and anything that's compute intensive, you're most likely going to have to run that in a centralized fashion. And that is really bad for the type of internet we're trying to build here. And so we have Nautilus. Nautilus is a high performance indexing layer. And what it basically does for you is that Nautilus allows you to run compute off chain and then verify it on chain and still get every single thing you need from reliability to security for the things that you usually have on chain. Then we also have Deepbook. If you're building, say, a DApp on any other blockchain, you would need to basically build the LP infrastructure and all the other infrastructures for liquidity by yourself. But with Deepbook, all you just have to do is plug and play into existing liquidity. And so if Sui has a TVL of 2 billion, then you have access to liquidity worth 2 billion. And that's another thing that Deepbook does for you. Like, so basically, let's look at how this entire thing forms a full stack. So you want to host your front ends, you host them on Walrus, and instead of using these services that go down like Cloudflare, Pages, AWS S3, you're going to just basically use Walrus. Then for your backend compute, you have Seal and Inoki. Actually, For backend compute, you actually have Nautilus, and then for social authentication, you have ZK login. For finance and liquidity, you have Deepbook, and then for core logic, you have your Move smart contracts. So basically, you have a front end that's hosted on Walrus and uses ZK login for onboarding. So there is no case of download the wallet, start understanding wallets, save a seed phrase, just continue with what you already use, and you actually have it totally decentralized. And sorry, previous slide. Then your core logic is on Move modules, which is actually the easiest to actually work with in terms of all the smart contract languages. You also have compute on Nautilus. You have messaging on Sui Messaging SDK, and then your APIs are sourced from say your Move modules. Then for finance, you no longer have to build all the entire stack yourself. You just basically use an integrated deep book, and everything works for you very fine. So now you have no resilience, no centralized parties, and every single thing is modular and accessible. So basically, it's a classic flex of all my endpoints are public, and my APIs, I no longer have to pretty much have to manage them if you're building Web3. So basically, the entire thing you get from SUI is fully centralized front ends, trustless backends, high performance compute with Nautilus, built-in data indexing with Inoki, word native authentication with ZK login, messaging and orchestration with the SUI message SDK, and on-chain financial markets with Deepbook. Next. Now, the icing of the cake, we have a physical location in Lagos, and I'm sure a lot of you here have always wanted to get into Web3, learn blockchain development, and it's quite there's a lot of overhead in that case because you're learning something that's extremely novel. There were no smart contracts in Web2 and the rest. But now that we have a physical hub, it basically means that every day we have classes where you can come and learn about how to build on the blockchain. You learn things from smart contracts to DeFi and general blockchain knowledge that's transferable across the entire stack. So you can easily join us at the SUI Hub. Here's the address. You get access to our hackathons with prizes ranging from 2 million to 10 million every month. And you also get access to a free working space, a lot of young people that are also building a very vibrant future. And there is, or should I say, unlimited snacks, if that's what makes you tick. Next. So our goal is basically to provide a space for you to actually build your future, regardless of what you want to build and where you want to build. And so basically, the entire thing is very simple. We have a very nice tech stack that allows you to build whatever you want to build on chain. And then you now also have a place where you can actually now build these things and bring them to life while getting paid to do them. Next. We've actually been very busy, not just staying at the hub and waiting for you to come to us. We've been bringing workshops to your schools. Over the last 1 month, we've done Unilag, LASU, NUTM, and a lot of other schools that we've visited to handle workshops for people that want to learn blockchain development. And so in a couple of days, weeks, or months, we actually be in your school. You can basically meet me after to talk about bringing this to your school if you want. Basically, we've onboarded 400 developers into the SEO ecosystem, organized hackathons that actually turned into real projects, and we are building a community of builders and creators. Next. So basically, we have the campus store, and that basically means that we're coming to different schools to handle blockchain development classes. We take you from scratch. In fact, we actually start from explaining how Web2 works to you, and then taking you from that to how Web3 works, so that you can basically understand the similarities. Because in reality, there's a whole lot of similarities between Web2 and Web3, and the entire idea of transitioning is actually not real. You're still building the same thing, just with a different stack. Next. Yeah, so you can easily keep up with us at Sui Hub Africa, and that's my profile. Next. All right, so generally, the next couple of steps after doing all of this would be if you are a student, you can write to us to come to your school, or pretty much just see me after, and we'll talk about coming to your school. We've been to Unilag, last week, NUTM, and we do have plans of doing this on a monthly basis where we take these blockchain development classes almost every time. If you prefer to come over to the hub is open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. every single day. You come around there, you get access to a very good space, free food, internet, and every single thing you need to basically grow and build on your own terms, anything you basically want to build. And if you also prefer to um, join us online, we actually take streams every weekend so you can learn how to build on the blockchain. It is actually no longer a thing of would blockchains be in the future or not. We've seen how blockchains make the current Web2 stack feel like a joke. We've seen multiple big players adopt blockchains, even the US government and a lot of other governments. We've seen recently Flutterwave adopting blockchains. Blockchains fix a lot of things that we currently have today, and a lot of things that we want to do in the future. And so I'll generally admonish you to take your first step with Sui, a blockchain that basically gives you every single thing you need to build Web2 great apps in Web3 without any hassle. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation. It has been an expository one, and I just wanted to ask, like those tools that you were showing us, they were like the infrastructure or ecosystem tools that are built on Sui, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's just my question. Thank you very much.
So thank you guys.